CreepyCorner stories.
Hey everyone, welcome back to CreepyCorner stories. You know, diving into the dark web is always risky, but sharing these stories with you makes it worth it. I'm curious, where are you watching this from right now? Let me know in the comments below. I've noticed that these kinds of stories hit differently depending on where you are. It might even make the experience a little creepier. So, tell me, are you watching from the safety of your home or somewhere less secure? My roommate got cursed by a dark web satanic cult. Every night he prays in 333 in Latin language. Alright, so I'm not really the type of person to post this kind of thing on Reddit, but I genuinely don't know where else to go. I've told maybe 2 people about this, and both either laughed it off or told me I need sleep. But the thing is, I haven't been able to sleep, not since I moved in with Jake. I'll start from the beginning. So I'm 22, just finished college, last year. I landed a remote IT job, not glamorous or anything, but it pays okay. I moved out of my parents' house and ended up in this apartment just outside of Chicago. You know, the kind of building where every door is a little crooked and smells faintly like hot dogs and bleach. The Craigslist ad said, private room, $600 a month, Wi-Fi included, quiet roommate. Seemed like a dream. I met Jake the first day I toured the place. Early 30s, maybe 31 or 32. Tall, wiry, with this kind of weirdly formal vibe to him. Like he always stood a little too straight, talked a little too slow. He wore all black the day I moved in, which wasn't weird, but I noticed he was wearing the same outfit the next day, and the day after that. Black hoodie, black jeans, black boots. Not goth or anything, just uniform, military level neatness. But hey, I've had weirder roommates. It was small talk at first. He barely came out of his room, and when he did, it was mostly just to heat up black coffee. Seriously, just black coffee, no food. Or to check the locks on the door. Obsessively. One night, I literally watched him lock and unlock the deadbolt 6 times in a row. I said something like, "Dude, you good?" And he just said, "Routine keeps me safe." I laughed awkwardly. He didn't. About 3 weeks in, I started noticing stuff. First was the whispering. I'd hear it late at night, 2 or 3 a.m., super faint, like someone talking to themselves in another room. I figured it was just him on a Discord call or something. I mean, whatever. But then it started getting louder, more intense, like chanting, not just words, but patterns. Always the same rhythm, always right around 3:30 in the morning. One night, I got up to pee and passed his door. It was cracked open just enough for me to peek in without being weird. And bro, he was sitting cross-legged on the floor, back to me, surrounded by candles, real flickering red wax candles, and a bunch of crap drawn on the floor with chalk or salt. I couldn't tell, but the scariest part was that he was praying, not just whispering, praying in a voice I didn't recognize. I grew up Catholic, so I know the sound of Latin prayers when I hear them. But this was deeper. It felt wrong, like he was saying something that no human should be saying. It didn't feel holy. It felt like the opposite of that. Next day, I asked him about it, casually, "Yo, you Catholic or something?" He didn't even look at me, just said, "The words aren't mine, I'm just the voice." Bruh, what? I started doing some digging after that. Checked out his socials. Nothing on Instagram, Facebook deleted, Reddit inactive. The only thing I could find was an old Twitter account with like 4 tweets from 2015, all in gibberish or some language I couldn't even identify. Like this one tweet just said, Veni, Vedi, Tenebrae Regit Corpus. I Google translated it. Something like, I came, I saw, darkness rules the body. Creepy, right? But here's where it starts to get really weird. I was up late working on a ticket for my job, scrolling TikTok in between assignments. It was like 2:45 a.m. and I heard the prayer start again. This time, it was louder. So I opened my bedroom door and I swear to God, the air felt thicker, like walking into a steam room, but without the heat. I walked down the hallway real slow, and Jake's door was wide open, candles all over the floor, symbols carved into the wood, and Jake was kneeling, both hands in the air, like he was offering something. But the thing is, he was holding a laptop, just a regular old MacBook, and on the screen was this website I had never seen before. Black background, red font, no branding, no buttons, just a single live chat. And the messages? They were flying, lines and lines of text, all in Latin, some in Cyrillic, some in weird symbols I swear weren't even human. Then one line popped up, right in English. The new vessel watches. I stepped back, and just then, Jake snapped his head all the way around, like some messed up horror movie, contortionist style, without moving the rest of his body. His eyes were black, not rolled back, just solid black, like jellyfish ink. And he smiled. Not like, hey, what's up, man? I mean this twisted, lip-cracking smile that looked like it physically hurt to make. He said, you weren't supposed to see this yet. I ran back into my room, locked the door, and stayed up the rest of the night with my AirPods blasting chill lo-fi, like that was gonna fix anything. I should have left right then, but curiosity's a bitch, right? The next few nights, I started hearing tapping on my wall at exactly 3:33 a.m. Every single night, same rhythm, like tap tap, tap, tap tap. I started recording audio on my phone. That's when I picked up the whispering. Except it wasn't Latin anymore. It was my name, over and over again. Eli, Eli, Eli. And yo, here's the final straw of this part of the story. I was at the McDonald's down the block, just needing to get the hell out of the apartment one afternoon. I'm scrolling through Reddit on my phone when I see a post on r/deep web files. You know, the one that reposts weird screenshots people supposedly find on Tor. The top post of the day. A screenshot of that exact chat interface. But here's the part that made me drop my damn McChicken. In the screenshot, at the bottom of the screen, there's a thumbnail-sized live webcam feed. And it's me, sitting at my desk, in my room. From an angle I don't even have a camera in. I haven't confronted Jake. Not yet. I don't even know if I'm dealing with Jake anymore. All I know is, it's not just prayer. It's something darker. And whatever it is, it's watching me now too. Let me just say this before anything else. This isn't a creepypasta. This isn't some urban legend. I lived through this. And if I'm being honest, I'm not even sure I'm still alive in the way most people understand it. Everything you're about to read happened between March 8th and March 29th, and I've got every second of it saved. Photos, audio, videos, chat logs, and yeah, screen recordings, not for attention, for evidence. Because if I disappear after this post, I want someone to know what happened in that apartment, what Jake brought into our lives, what he invited in. Let me take you back to the night after I saw that screenshot. I couldn't sleep. Like, literally couldn't. It was like something was pressing down on my chest anytime I closed my eyes. And it wasn't sleep paralysis either. It was like I'd start to drift off and instantly wake up gasping, like someone had shoved their hand in my mouth while I was dreaming. At 2:55 a.m., my MacBook screen lit up by itself. Now keep in mind, this laptop is password protected. I have biometric login enabled, and I hadn't touched it since 10 p.m. But there it was, open, with one tab, that same black chat interface I saw on Jake's screen. Only now, it was live streaming, not a room, not a ritual, not Jake. Me, sitting in bed, staring at the screen, from behind, like someone, was right behind me with a camera. I spun around so fast I nearly fell out of bed. Nothing, but my closet door was cracked, just barely, and from inside, I heard a click, like a camera shutter. That's when the stream glitched. The live feed flickered, and instead of my room, I saw this figure, human shape, but like smeared, blurred out in chunks, head tilted like it was trying to understand what it was seeing, and I swear to God, its mouth was stitched shut with wire. I remember that detail vividly. You could see the skin tearing where it had smiled too wide. The screen flickered again. Message appeared. Tell him to stop praying, or he won't need a mouth either. I slammed the laptop shut and ran into the living room. Jake wasn't in his room. It looked like someone had torn it apart. Candles knocked over. His mattress sliced open, like someone had been searching for something inside the foam. On the wall, and I will never forget this, there was something scratched into the paint with fingernails. Not a knife. Actual bloody nails. Curved lines. Symbols. Circles with tiny eyes carved inside them. And one word, over and over. Host. I heard a noise from the hallway closet. My dumbass opened it, thinking maybe Jake was hiding. What I saw made me drop my phone. Inside was a dead cat, except not just dead. Its body was split down the center, like someone had tried to taxidermy it, with pages from a Bible stuffed inside the cavity. No blood, no guts, just torn pages with sections highlighted in black ink. Verses that had been burned halfway through, like someone lit a match right on the paper and blew it out halfway. Written on its forehead in red marker, "He will open the door at 3:33. I screamed. No shame in that. No tough guy act. I screamed. Called my friend Josh on FaceTime and begged him to come over. He said he'd be there in 15. I locked myself in the bathroom. My hands were shaking so bad I couldn't even type. That's when I noticed something on my arm. Tiny black dots just under the skin, moving, like something crawling under the surface. I scrubbed until I bled. Literally. I was sobbing, dry heaving. I started tearing up the cabinet under the sink for rubbing alcohol or bleach. Instead, I found a small, hand-wrapped bundle hidden behind the toilet bowl. Inside, a human molar, a dead moth, crushed flat like a bookmark, a mini SD card, and a photo of me sleeping in my bed. It was dated 2 months before I moved in. I never gave Jake that date. I never even mentioned I was moving out from my parents' house online. But somehow, he knew. Josh arrived. We left the apartment and crashed at a hotel near O'Hare. He thought I was having a breakdown, said maybe Jake was on drugs, or I was being paranoid. But then I showed him the SD card. He borrowed a card reader from the front desk. and we plugged it into his laptop. And bro, we shouldn't have. There were 7 video files, each one labeled with a date and time, all at 3:33 a.m., all spaced out about a month apart. First couple were grainy, security cam style, dark rooms, just Jake chanting in front of his laptop. Then things got worse. The candles turned black. The chanting got louder. He started speaking in reverse, literal backwards Latin, like someone hit rewind on a demon. Then we opened the final video. It wasn't Jake. It was a girl, maybe 20, tied to a chair, mouth gagged, crying. Same salt symbols around her. Same Latin text scrolling in the background of the laptop screen. And behind her, a shape. That same figure from the stream. Stitched mouth. Arms too long, like it had been unfolded from inside a box. It reached forward and placed its hand on her head. She started convulsing, bleeding from her eyes, her nose, her ears. The screen went black. At the bottom of the video, trial, vessel number 48, rejected. We sat in silence for a full minute. Then Josh's phone buzzed. Unknown caller. He answered and froze. He put it on speaker. There was chanting, low, distorted, like 100 voices whispering in sync. Then a voice, calm, monotone, female. There is no vessel number 49. Only hosts now. He will not pray tonight. Call ended. We drove back to the apartment that night, like dumbasses. We had to know if Jake was still there. The door was open, not broken, just wide open like it had been expecting us. Inside, every single wall was covered in mirrors, dozens of them, not hung, just placed, leaning, and in every single mirror our reflections were wrong, distorted, smiling when we weren't, eyes flickering black, mouths too wide. One of the mirrors, I swear to God, showed Jake, standing behind us, not with us, in the mirror. Then we heard him, from inside the walls. You were supposed to be asleep. He only enters when the host sleeps. The walls started bleeding. No metaphor. Actual, thick, black blood seeping out of the mirror seams. I grabbed Josh and bolted. We didn't even grab our stuff. Just ran. That night, we crashed at a Starbucks off the highway. Didn't even get coffee. Just used the free Wi-Fi, trying to find anything about what we saw. Anything about cults that use mirrors. Midnight rituals. Latin. Found one Reddit thread. Deleted now. Had one reply. They're called the Chorus of Orbies. Once you see them, they remember your face. I clicked the username. Account suspended. Next day, I got a package at my parents' house. No return address. Inside, just a black hoodie. Size medium. Same one Jake always wore. Tucked in the pocket was a sticky note. In Latin, Vade mecum in tenebris. Walk with me in the dark. And scrawled underneath, in English, 3:33 is coming. You will pray too. The hotel room with no reflections. Coming next. If you're still reading this, I'm sorry. It only gets darker from here. You won't believe what we saw in that broken elevator, or what Jake became. Trust me, it's not human anymore. If you're reading this, you still have time to turn back. You don't need to know the rest. You shouldn't know. Because the thing is, after what I'm about to tell you, you'll start seeing them too. In windows, in puddles, in elevator doors, reflections that don't match, faces that twitch half a second late, smiles that shouldn't exist, mouths stitched, still smiling. I should have destroyed the hoodie. After we fled the apartment, Josh and I went completely dark. We turned off our phones, ditched our laptops, and paid cash for a room at this old, run-down hotel near the Indiana border. It was one of those weird spots truckers use just to sleep for 6 hours and keep moving. No cameras, no IDs, just a $20 keycard and a door that creaked like something was waiting behind it. Room 211. That room was the beginning of the end. At first, it seemed quiet. Stained carpet, flickering bathroom light, one of those weird plastic ice buckets that no one has ever actually used. But what I noticed immediately, and what Josh didn't catch, was that there were no mirrors. Not in the bathroom, not above the dresser, not on the closet door, not anywhere. No TV either, just a wall where it looked like one used to be. 4 small holes in the drywall, a thick, greasy outline. It wasn't just weird, it felt intentional, like the room was trying to starve us of reflections, of anything that could show us what was really in the room. The first night, we took shifts sleeping. Josh went down first. Around 2:40 a.m., I heard him talking in his sleep. At first, it was quiet, mumbled. Then it got guttural, gravelly, like his throat wasn't built to speak whatever it was trying to say. I leaned in, thinking it was just another nightmare. Then I realized he was speaking Latin, fluently, with perfect pronunciation, the same rhythm Jake used. And worse, he was praying. I tried shaking him awake. Nothing. His eyes were open, but rolled all the way up, like the whites of them were boiling. His tongue was twitching. Then he stopped breathing. Just like that. His chest stopped rising. No sound. And for like 5 full seconds, the room was dead silent. Then, from the closet behind me, I heard it. "He is ready." A voice. Not Josh's, not mine, but from inside Josh. And when I turned around, the closet door had opened on its own. Nothing but darkness inside. But the air, it moved, like it was breathing. I didn't run. I couldn't. My body literally wouldn't move. It was like something wrapped around my spine, slowly crushing every bone inside me, but making sure I stayed awake for all of it. Then the door slammed shut. Josh gasped awake and started coughing so hard he vomited black sludge onto the floor, like motor oil and wet hair. I pulled him up and he just started screaming. Not words, just this broken animal wail that didn't sound human. He kept repeating, "I saw it, I saw it, I saw it. It's under the floor." We left that room and tried to switch hotels, but every single place we checked had a vacancy issue, like it was planned. Even the ones that were literally completely dark and empty still told us, "Sorry, no rooms available." It was 3:33 a.m. when we found the last place. An old Marriott, the kind with marble floors and those big decorative mirrors in the lobby. And that's when it happened. None of the mirrors showed us. They reflected the lobby, the hallway, but not us. We stood in front of the mirror, waving our hands like idiots. Nothing. Then one of the reflections twitched. A woman. Pale, gray skin, arms too long, standing just behind us. But when we turned around, nothing. Just empty space. She only existed in the mirror. And she smiled. We ran, found a stairwell, and bolted up 3 flights to room 319. Unlocked, lights on, like it was waiting. Inside, a single chair, facing a giant mirror, covered in sheets of newspaper, all written in a language I've never seen before. Looked like Arabic, Russian, Latin, mixed together. Some pages were burned, some were bloodstained. There was writing on the wall behind the chair, scratched into the paint. The mirror must be fed, or it will reflect what you fear the most. On the table next to the chair, a plastic bag. Inside, a razor blade wrapped in gauze, a mirror shard, a USB drive, a human finger, cleanly severed, bone exposed. and a note. Mirror number 7 hungers. Josh refused to touch anything. I, for whatever reason, curiosity, fear, whatever, plugged in the USB, one single file, titled, "Do not play at 3:33 a.m. .move." I hit play. It was a video feed of Jake, naked, knees bent, back broken backwards, like a puppet with snapped strings, crawling toward the camera. But it wasn't from the apartment. This was somewhere else. Cold, metallic. A room with no walls, just black, stretching in every direction. And then the camera turned and showed me, standing still, eyes gone, mouth sewn shut, same stitches as that creature, same expression. Jake, or what was left of him, spoke directly to the camera. "Your body will remain, but your reflection belongs to them now." Video ended. We tried leaving, but the elevator wouldn't stop at the lobby. We pressed 1 like 100 times, but it kept skipping past, down, past B1, to a floor that wasn't labeled. Just, the door opened, and the smell hit us like a corpse, sweet and rotting, like perfume sprayed on meat. The hallway ahead had no lights, just candles, hundreds of candles, and at the end, a mirror, one, single, mirror, standing upright, with something pounding from the other side of it. The glass bent, cracked. Whatever was trapped inside wanted out. We backed away, but the elevator was gone, literally not there anymore. Behind us, a door creaked open. Room -11. Inside, a girl, pale, silent, sitting in a circle of salt, hands sliced open, palms up, bleeding onto a page written in that same dead language. She looked up, eyes black, and said, "You were supposed to die in 211. We ran. I don't know how or what force let us leave, but we did. Ended up breaking a window and climbing out the side of the hotel, barefoot, bleeding, just gone. Josh hasn't spoken since that night. Not a word. He just stares now, at windows, at TV screens, at puddles, watching for movement that shouldn't be there. And me? I started seeing things in my own reflection, movements that lag behind, my mouth smiling when I don't remember smiling, my eyes bleeding in the mirror, but not in real life. My mom took a photo of me during dinner. Behind me, in the window reflection, someone is standing over my shoulder, gray, armless, smiling, with Jake's face. They're not just watching anymore. They're learning. They're practicing. And they want to be seen. There's a point you reach in a nightmare where your brain realizes it's not real. You start looking for the escape hatch, the glitch, the hidden cue that'll pull you back to your bed, to normalcy, to safety. But what happens when you never wake up? What happens when the nightmare learns your name, learns your face, learns where you sleep, and then starts remembering you? This isn't sleep paralysis. This isn't psychosis. This is possession by reflection, and it's spreading. Josh hasn't spoken in 6 days. He doesn't blink unless I physically force his eyelids down with my thumbs. He doesn't eat, doesn't drink. He just sits on the motel floor, staring at his own reflection in the screen of a dead TV. Not watching TV, literally watching the black glass like it's a window. And sometimes, I swear, it watches back. Last night, I looked away for 5 seconds. Just 5. When I turned back, his mouth was open like he was yawning, but it just kept opening. Wider, jaw cracking, skin stretching. And from inside, I heard the unmistakable whisper of Latin again. Except this time, it wasn't praying. It was laughing. This deep, distorted laugh, like a chorus of people in pain. And Josh still hasn't blinked. I've started documenting everything. Paper journals, Polaroids. I don't trust my phone anymore. after what happened on Instagram. Let me explain. 3 nights ago, I tried going on my backup account. Just a burner. No followers. Just a blank profile. But the second I opened it, my homepage was flooded with suggested reels. All blank. No thumbnails. No titles. Just black screens. I clicked one. It was me. Sleeping. Angle was overhead. Like ceiling level. Fish eye lens. I could see myself turning in bed, mumbling. Then I saw it. The hand. This pale, long-fingered hand, reaching down from the ceiling vent above my bed. I don't even have a ceiling vent. It grabbed my hair, pulled my head back, then whispered something into my ear. But here's the thing. I watched the video, frame by frame, and my reflection in the window was missing. Gone. Not obscured, not shadowed, just not there. That's when I realized they're not ghosts, they're not demons. There's something older, something that exists in the spaces we ignore, the in-betweens, every puddle, every mirror, every black TV screen after you shut it off. They're reflections, but not ours. They're copies, and they're getting better. They mimic your mannerisms, your smile, your blink rate. They only get it wrong when you're not looking. The night I learned the truth, I was alone. Josh had started repeating the phrase, "Feed the glass," under his breath, over and over. I left the motel just to breathe, ended up in a 24-hour Starbucks downtown, nearly empty. Just me, a barista who looked half dead, and a man in the corner wearing sunglasses at night. Whatever. This is Chicago. I opened my laptop and searched for Chorus of Orbis. Nothing. Pages redirected. Forums closed. Archives wiped. But one tall mirror led me to something. A website with no name. Just an HTML string. 0rphic.glass.deadhost.onion. It loaded instantly. The homepage was a still image. A mirror. Cracked. Framed in what looked like human bone. And in the corner, a blinking prompt. Upload your reflection. I didn't. I swear to God, I didn't. But it did it anyway. Snapped a photo from my webcam. Before I could close the tab, the image uploaded itself. My face, distorted. Eyes replaced with black spirals. Mouth sewn shut with numbers. Not thread. Just strings of digits, twisted into knots. Then the site changed. It displayed a countdown. 3:33 a.m. I closed the laptop, unplugged it, smashed the webcam with a pen. Didn't matter, because at exactly 3:33 a.m., my reflection in the Starbucks window turned and looked at me, without me moving. I ran back to the motel. Josh was gone. No signs of forced entry. Just one thing left on the floor. A mirror shard, still warm, written on it in blood. Your reflection is no longer yours. I went through every photo I'd ever taken. Instagram, Snapchat memories, old graduation photos, my driver's license. In every single one, my eyes had started to go black. Faint at first. Just the pupils. But progressing. Frame by frame. Until the most recent ones, they weren't my eyes at all. They were Jake's. I started getting messages from accounts I don't follow. Accounts with no profile pictures. Handles like at host 112 and at Glossseed 999. Each one sent me an image, a different location. My old elementary school, the McDonald's I used to work at, my childhood bedroom, and in the center of each photo, a mirror, cracked, with a message scrawled across the glass. You slept. We entered. The last image, my parents' house, window open, mirror on the floor, covered in blood. I called. No answer. Drove there, busted down the door. House was ice cold. Every photo of me had been scratched out. every mirror removed, every window blacked out with Sharpie. But what made me collapse was the bathroom. On the wall above the tub, in what looked like dried human hair, was a Latin phrase, Hostia completa est. The sacrifice is complete. And in the bathtub, Josh, eyes missing, tongue in his hand, still breathing, still smiling. He whispered, without a tongue, somehow, "We let them in, Eli. They live in us now. Reflections don't lie. People do." He died 5 minutes later, smiling. That was 2 days ago. Now every reflective surface shows something else. Not me, not anyone real, just versions, copies, smiling, mouthing something silently. I started filming them, using an old VHS camcorder from the 90s, and when I played the footage back, I saw something I wish I could forget. At the 013 timestamp, my reflection blinked, but not once. It blinked 3 times. Left eye, right eye, then both, and then it mouthed the word, host. I zoomed in. In the background of the reflection, Jake, hanging upside down, naked, skin carved with mirror symbols, stitched to the ceiling of my motel room. I turned off the lights, and there he was, not in the room, in the window, watching, smiling, mouth sewn shut, holding something in his hand, a gift, a compact mirror, cracked, bloodied, with my face inside it, screaming, "You think you know your own face. You think the person in the mirror is you. But what if it's not? What if it's been waiting, watching you blink, learning how to move like you, how to smile like you, until the night you sleep with the lights off, and it finally steps through. There is no happy ending. There is no moral to the story, no hero, no hope, just glass, endless glass, cracked, bleeding, reflecting back things that were never supposed to be seen. If you've made it this far, I need you to understand something. It never ends. It spreads. It grows like mold on the inside of your soul. Quiet at first, invisible, until it's too late to scrape off. The Latin prayers, the chanting, the mirrors, all of it. It's just surface symptoms. They are not the disease. We are. Last night, I destroyed every reflective surface in my motel room. Bathroom mirror, smashed. TV, unplugged, covered in duct tape. Phone screen, shattered with a crowbar. I even gouged out my own corneas. I know how that sounds. I know. But it was the only thing left. Because they only come through when they're seen. They only enter when you look, when you recognize them. And I couldn't risk seeing them again. Not after what happened at the asylum. That's where I ended up. Not voluntarily. Someone found me outside a Walgreens, naked, bleeding from the eyes, screaming in Latin phrases I'd never learned. They sedated me, took me to a private psych facility outside Milwaukee. Clean white walls, security glass, no reflective surfaces, no phones, no chrome. I thought I was safe. For 48 hours, I felt nothing. No voices, no mirror people, no Jake. I even started to think, maybe it was psychosis, maybe it was over, until room 14. They moved me there on the 3rd day. They said it had better monitoring. There was a one-way mirror in the room, one of those full-wall observation glass setups. Except something was off, because I couldn't see myself in it. Not at first, but I could see something else. A face, pale, long, twisted, pressing against the other side of the mirror. The glass pulsed, like lungs. The face didn't blink, didn't move, just watched, and then it began to smile. I screamed until my voice bled. They strapped me down, shot me full of something heavy, and for the next 12 hours, I couldn't move, couldn't speak, could only watch as the marrow began to sweat Yes, sweat. Drops of black fluid rolled down the inside of the glass. Thick, viscous, smelling like burnt teeth and ammonia. And then the face pushed through. Its forehead broke the surface. Then the shoulders. It began to crawl through the glass, like a newborn through a birth canal made of reality itself. I couldn't move, couldn't scream. It climbed over my chest and leaned in close. Its mouth was sewn shut with wire, but I could hear it inside my skull. You shouldn't have watched. It reached into my mouth, not with hands, but with its reflection. That's how they feed, not on blood, on identity, on the idea of you. Your name, your face, your memory of yourself. It ripped something out of me, something I didn't know could be taken, and left a piece of itself in exchange. They found me catatonic in the morning, said I had a stroke, said the mirror was intact, said there was no footage from the night before. The security tapes all glitched at exactly 3:33 a.m. Of course they did. That's their hour. The minute the glass opens, they discharge me a week later. But I wasn't the same, because when I looked at myself in someone's sunglasses at the bus stop, I saw myself blink out of sync and smile and not stop smiling. I haven't looked in a mirror since. I cover every reflective surface. I walk with my head down, but I hear them now, in puddles, in phone screens, in elevator doors. They whisper in my voice. They mouth prayers in Latin that I never learned. They laugh when I cry. They are everywhere, because once you see them, once you watch the watchers, they follow you back. They learn you, study you, and then they become you. I tried to warn people. I posted on forums, sent messages to YouTubers, left USBs in bathrooms at airports, but they always find me. They always take it down. Last week I found a video online, a new TikTok trend, mirror challenge at 3:33. Thousands of kids filming themselves in mirrors at night. All smiles, all wrong, because if you pause at just the right frame, you'll see the reflections aren't the same. They're waiting, just like Jake was. I don't know what happened to him. Not really. But the last message I ever got from his number, sent at exactly 3:33 a.m., was just 3 words. You are ready. Now, every time I blink, I can feel something blinking with me. Every time I speak, I feel my voice lag half a second behind in somewhere else. And when I dream, I don't see myself anymore. I see him. The version of me that came through the mirror, smiling, mouth sewn shut, holding your name in his hand. There is no real anymore. Only the glass, only the watches, only the smile that doesn't stop. Even when you start screaming, you shouldn't have looked too long, but it's too late now. Check your reflection. See if it moves. See if it smiles when you don't. You'll know then. You've been marked. Just like Jake. Just like me. See you at 3:33. I bought Cursed Ouija Board from the dark web. It says it belongs to my grandma. Okay, so, yeah, I never thought I'd be writing something like this. I usually scroll past the creepy stories on Reddit and YouTube, thinking, alright, someone's watched too much Netflix. But now, I kinda wish I was one of those people, because what happened to me last month, it doesn't just feel real, it was real, and it hasn't stopped. Let me back up. I'm 21. I live alone in a tiny apartment in Kansas City, not far from a Starbucks I basically live off of. I'm a college dropout, computer science, don't judge, and I work part-time at Target while doing freelance graphic design. I'm one of those people who's chronically online, like deep Reddit holes at 3 a.m., TikTok for hours, the whole thing. I grew up with the internet. It's my second home. So, naturally, curiosity got the better of me when I started seeing those I ordered from the dark web storytime videos all over YouTube again. They're always the same. Mysterious boxes, shady delivery guys, maybe a cursed doll or something. I didn't think they were real. I thought, what if I did it? Just for fun. Just once. Not to make a video or anything. I'm not a clout chaser. I just wanted to see if you could actually buy something weird from the dark web. So, yeah. I found a Tor browser walkthrough, got into one of those marketplaces that look like eBay if eBay was run by demons, and started scrolling. There were the usual drugs, fake passports, credit card info, even a listing for haunted VHS tapes from real murder scenes. Yeah, right. But then something caught my eye. Spirit channeling board, handcrafted, proven to belong to deceased Matilda L., 1910-1992. Underneath it, just one sentence. Board used in final documented seance before subject's death. Claimed by estate, but lost in transit. I don't know what made me click on it. Maybe it was the name, Matilda. That was my grandma's name. She died before I was born, so I never met her, but my mom would not shut up about her. Said she was strange, into all kinds of spiritual stuff, especially near the end. Always lighting candles, talking to shadows in the corners. Honestly, I just thought she was one of those dramatic church ladies. Anyway, the listing had a grainy photo, an old wooden Ouija board, kind of warped looking, like it had been burned on one corner. The letters were hand-painted in this super creepy black ink that almost looked like it had been written with a bird feather. The planchette was this little triangle thing made of bone, or something that looked like bone. The description claimed it was from the remains of the original channeler. It was $44.44. I bought it. Stupid, I know. It arrived 3 days later. That fast. No signature, no return address. Just a plain brown box sitting outside my door at 6 a.m. on a Sunday. What freaked me out wasn't the package, though. It was the note taped on top. It said, "Return what was never yours." Before she notices, the handwriting was identical to my mom's. I even compared it to one of her old birthday cards I had in my drawer. Same weird loopy R's. Same way she makes the dot of the I a little slash instead. But my mom died 2 years ago in a car accident outside a McDonald's in St. Louis. There's no way she wrote that. I stood there staring at it for like 5 minutes before even touching the box. Then I opened it. Inside was the board, exactly like the photo, but now it smelled like mold and something else. Something I still can't describe. Not rot exactly, but old, like a locked basement in a house no one's lived in since the 50s. The planchette was already resting on the board, pointed at the letter G. I almost laughed at that. G for grandma, maybe? Or game. Who knows? But here's where things get really messed up. When I flipped the board over, I found a photograph taped to the back. An actual old Polaroid, yellowed at the edges, showing a woman I'd never seen before. But I knew it was her. I just knew. The same face from the family albums. My grandmother, younger, maybe in her 40s, sitting at a round table in what looked like a candlelit basement, her hands on that same Ouija board. She was smiling, but it wasn't a warm smile. It was Forced. Wide. Too wide. Like someone was pulling her face from behind. And her eyes, her pupils were gone. Just these white marbles staring dead on into the camera. Like she could see me, right then, holding the photo. I dropped the board, and the planchette skidded across the floor. When I picked it up, it was pointed at the front door. Dead. Straight. At the door. I didn't sleep that night. Every few minutes, I'd hear something shifting, like furniture being dragged across the floor above me. But I live on the top floor. I even called the apartment manager and asked if anyone was moving furniture at 3 a.m. She said the unit above me was vacant. Cool. Around 4 a.m., I heard a voice. I swear on everything, I heard it, just outside my bedroom. It whispered, "She wants it back." My lights flickered. My dog, Penny, a mutt I rescued last year, refused to come out from under the bed all night. She growled at the board like it had bit her. I didn't touch it again. I just put it in the hallway closet, wrapped in towels, and slammed the door. But the next morning, when I opened the closet again to check if it was still there, the board was gone, and on the inside of the closet door, carved into the wood, was one word: return. Upvotes appreciated. I don't care if this sounds fake. I just want someone to believe me. Should I call someone? A priest? A psychic? Delete my apartment? I don't even know anymore. Alright, listen. If you read part 1, you know things already got weird. But this part is where everything snapped. It's where things stopped being, haha, creepy grandma ghost, and became something different. Something wrong. Like, I don't think I'm supposed to even be alive after this part, but somehow I am. And if I don't get this all out now, I swear I'll end up like, no, you'll understand soon. So, after I found the word return carved into my closet door, I lost it. Like full on, pacing in circles, talking to myself crazy. I was supposed to go to work at 10 a.m. that day at Target, but I couldn't even function. I just sat on my couch, staring at the door of the closet. My dog was still hiding under the bed, and I hadn't heard a peep out of her since the night before. Didn't even eat the peanut butter I left by her food bowl. Then, something even worse happened. I got a text from an unknown number. No profile photo, no name. Just a message that said, "Don't hide it. She always knows where her blood ends up." Read that again. Her blood. I felt like I couldn't breathe. My ears were ringing. I texted back immediately. Just spammed a whole wall of, "Who are you? What do you want? Is this a joke?" No reply. Until 5 minutes later, another photo. It was me, standing in front of the closet. Except I hadn't taken any pictures that day. The angle was from the ceiling corner of my living room, like from the perspective of a security camera. But I don't have any cameras in my apartment. I threw my phone across the room, just launched it like it was cursed, which honestly, it probably was at that point. But I knew what I had to do. I had to get rid of that board. Even if it disappeared from the closet, it had to still be somewhere in the apartment. So I turned the place upside down, tore apart every cabinet, every drawer, even opened the wall vent in the hallway using a butter knife. Nothing, until I checked the crawl space. Now, here's where things get extra messed up, and I swear this is 100% true, even though it sounds like a horror movie. There was a little square in the hallway floor I always thought was some kind of panel for wiring. I'd never opened it before, but when I pried it up, there was a ladder, a wooden one, old, damp, leading down. but I live in an apartment complex. There is no down, just 2 floors, mine being the top. I even checked the building plans online after. There's no basement listed, no crawl space, no nothing. My place isn't even supposed to have an attic. And yet, there it was, a ladder leading down into pitch black, moldy silence. I grabbed a flashlight and a box cutter because I wasn't going in there completely unarmed, and I climbed down. Immediately, I regretted it. The air was wet, like being inside someone's mouth. It smelled like iron and dirt and something sour, something way too alive to be underground. The walls were made of stone, actual stone, like a dungeon. There were weird symbols carved into the walls, stuff I couldn't recognize. Looked like old Latin mixed with something else, not quite language, more like scratches from something with too many fingers. I walked for what felt like forever, but my flashlight started flickering. I thought the batteries were dying until I looked up and realized they weren't flickering. The light was being moved, like the shadows around me were shifting, as if something was passing in front of my light that I couldn't see, blocking it out, but nothing was there, or at least nothing visible. Then I heard the whispering again, not just one voice this time, many, a choir of breathless, cracking voices whispering things in sync. I couldn't understand them all, but I picked up fragments. Returned, must return, unfinished, grandmother, channel still open. Then I saw the table. In the middle of that dark hallway-like space was a small round table, rotting from the legs up, and on it, the Ouija board, the exact same one, same scorch marks, same bone planchette. But now, the board wasn't just sitting there, it was moving on its own. The planchette was gliding across the board like a spider on speed. No hands, just gliding, and it was spelling out something. I watched as it slowly, painfully spelled B-U-R-N-M-E-I. Backed away. I was done. Screw this. Screw the basement that shouldn't exist. Screw Grandma Matilda. I turned to climb back up, but the ladder was gone. It wasn't there anymore. Just a flat ceiling. No light coming from above. Just stone. And darkness. I screamed. I panicked. I beat on the ceiling with the flashlight until the bulb shattered and the room went pitch black. That's when I felt the breath. Hot. Wet. Right next to my ear. And then a voice. Right behind me. We told you. Blood belongs to blood. Something touched the back of my neck. Long fingers. Ice cold. Almost loving. And I blacked out. I woke up in my bed. Yeah. My bed. In my apartment. Daylight outside. My dog was sitting next to me, finally acting normal again. It felt like the entire thing was a nightmare, until I checked my hands. Under my nails, dirt. On my pillow, a single white hair. Not mine. Too long. Too old. And in my hallway, the floor panel was gone. Not even a seam. Like it never existed. But that's not even the worst part. The worst part came the next day. I was scrolling through Facebook, trying to distract myself, when I got a message from an old family friend. Someone I hadn't talked to since my mom's funeral. All it said was, "Hey, weird question. Did your grandma ever give you anything, like something personal before she passed?" I didn't reply. I just went to her profile to stalk around. I swear to God, I wish I hadn't. Her most recent photo was of an old attic space. Looked just like the place I saw underground. And on the floor, the Ouija board, identical. Same scorch marks. And the caption, "Found this while cleaning out Mom's house. Weirdest thing is, I thought we burned this years ago after Matilda's accident. You guys still think this is fake?" then explained the teeth I found under my bed last night. No joke. Though human, one still had a filling. I'll post pics if I survive tonight. I can't scream anymore. I don't think I even remember how to scream. You hit a point where terror isn't spikes or panic. It's static. It's numb. Your body stops reacting because reacting would mean accepting that what's happening is real. And I think mine has decided not to. It just shuts off. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me rewind to the teeth. Yes, human teeth. A whole handful, 12 of them, all different sizes. One was a molar with a blackened root. Another had a metal crown, and every single one of them was warm. They were underneath my bed, scattered in a little nest of rotting tissue paper, and they weren't dusty, like they'd been there for months. They were fresh. I touched one, and it squished. It bled. I threw up. Straight up collapsed and dry heaved for 10 minutes until I started seeing spots. Then I heard it again. The whisper. No, the chant. Not in English. Not even human. A low droning sound coming from the walls. The kind of sound that makes your stomach twist before your brain can even process it. Something was inside my apartment. Not physically. Like spiritually. Like the walls were breathing. I could hear them inhale when I stood still long enough. I don't even remember grabbing my phone, but at some point I was calling 911. That's when I found out my number had been disconnected. Not blocked, not out of service. Disconnected. My cell service was gone. My Wi-Fi wouldn't connect. Every app said, no internet available. My Spotify kept trying to play one song over and over again, even on airplane mode. She sees you. She knows you. She's coming. That was the name of the track. No artist, just that. The album art? A blurry photo of my hallway, taken from above. The exact angle of the one from the text I got the other day. Except now, in the background, there was something in the corner. A shape. Long fingers against the ceiling. No face. Just blackness. Stretching toward my bedroom. I turned my phone off. I was done. This had gone past some deep web prank. This was ritualistic. Surgical. Like someone was peeling my sanity apart layer by layer. I had to leave. I grabbed a backpack, shoved in my dog, Penny. She didn't even resist. She was trembling like she'd already seen death. And I ran out the door. No shoes, no keys. Just bolted down 3 flights of stairs and out into the street, screaming for help. Nobody looked up. Not one single person. It was broad daylight. I was in a major city. And yet, it was like I didn't exist. People passed me like I was a ghost. One guy even walked straight through my shadow. I swear, I felt it. Like my body wasn't fully here. I went to the nearest place I knew would have cameras. Starbucks. I busted in, barefoot and bleeding. I'd stepped on something on the sidewalk. I only realized later it was a finger bone. And the barista looked up and smiled like I was just another customer. Welcome to Starbucks. What can I get started for you? I stared at her, then looked up at the security camera in the corner and asked her, flat out, do you see me on that screen? She blinked, smiled wider, and said, she sees you everywhere now. I ran out. I didn't even care that people were staring now. My dog was whimpering in the bag like she was trying to burrow into my back. I ran until I couldn't feel my legs anymore. No destination, just away. Eventually, I found myself back where it all started, my mom's old house. It's been abandoned since she died. Police never released the full report on her death. Said she lost control of the car and swerved into a McDonald's, hitting a wall at 70 miles per hour. No drugs, no alcohol. But she'd called me that night, left me a voicemail I never listened to until that day. I don't know why. Maybe I thought it would help me feel sane. But when I hit play, I dropped the phone. "They made me take it," she whispered in the message. "The board. It didn't start with Grandma. It didn't even end with her. She was just the door. And now I think I'm next. I'm sorry, baby. I tried to bury it, but the board never stays buried. It moves. It breathes. It wants." Then silence. Then something in the background. A scraping sound. A voice that was definitely not my mother's. Blood for the bone. Voice for the gate. Then the call cut out. I dropped the phone and ran inside. My mom's house had been boarded up for almost 2 years, but the front door was open. Not kicked in, just ajar. Like someone was waiting for me. There was no dust inside. No cobwebs. Just candlelight. Candles that were lit. And in the center of the living room, on that same table from the photo, was the board. This time, the planchette wasn't moving. It was spinning. So fast it blurred, and there were words carved into the table now. Fresh gouges dripping with black sludge. "She is you." I backed away slowly, but the floor under me shifted, like it had turned to soft dirt. When I looked down, I wasn't standing on wood anymore. I was standing on teeth, thousands of them, all sizes, some whole, some cracked, all embedded in the floor like a mosaic from hell. And they were chattering, clicking like they were laughing. That's when I saw her, standing in the hallway. She looked like my grandma, but she wasn't. Her skin hung off her bones like wet cloth. Her mouth was too wide, filled with teeth that didn't match. Some yellow, some perfect white, some metal, like she'd taken them from different people and shoved them into her skull. Her eyes were bleeding, and her neck, it had no shadow. She tilted her head at me, then said, "I left it to you, and you spat on it. Now I'll wear your voice until the world forgets you were ever born." I tried to run, but the door behind me was gone. The whole house was gone. I was in the basement again, the real one, the one that doesn't exist, except this time, I wasn't alone. There were others, faces in the walls, people I didn't recognize, their mouths stretched open, sewn that way. Their tongues were missing, all of them silently screaming with their eyes. And in the middle of the room, a new table, fresh, wooden, and it had my full name carved into the top, next to a carving of my mother's face, and underneath it, "Next channel." I don't know how I got out. I woke up in the woods behind the house, covered in dirt and blood, phone shattered next to me, penny gone. It's been 4 days. The board is back in my apartment, and now it's not asking to be burned. It's asking to be fed. If anyone knows anything about spiritual possession, ancestral curses, or dark web rituals, DM me. I can't sleep. I haven't seen the sun in 2 days, and no one else seems to notice. I think she's wearing my mother's voice again. You ever hear something you weren't supposed to? Not like catching your parents argue at night, or hearing your name whispered down a school hallway. I mean really hearing something meant for someone else, something that wasn't meant to exist outside whatever place it was meant to stay buried in. That's what happened next. And after what I heard, I don't think anything about this world is real anymore. I think reality is just a coat of paint slapped on a wall, made of teeth and rot and voices that shouldn't speak. But I'll get to that. Let's talk about the board. After I woke up in the woods, after Penny disappeared, After I crawled back into my apartment bleeding, muddy, and barely coherent, I found it. Not in a box, not hidden, just sitting there, on my bed, like it had waited. The planchette wasn't on the board this time. It was inside my pillowcase, wrapped in my pillow like a bone baby, surrounded by black hair I know damn well wasn't mine, and underneath my bed, where the nest of teeth had been, a thumb drive, unmarked. Not like a normal USB either. This one was hand-carved, wood and wire, fused into a crude plastic casing. It looked like something made in a basement with rusted tools and hate. I almost didn't plug it in. Almost. But I did. And what I found, I shouldn't have. There were exactly 11 audio files, all dated over a span of 3 days, each one titled with a single word: calling, entry, birth, mirror, voice, flesh, split, she, want, more, and silence. Each recording was under 90 seconds, but they felt like hours. The first one, calling, started with static, then slow breathing. A woman. I thought it was my mom at first, but the pitch was wrong. Too wet, like her throat had water in it. She kept whispering the same sentence over and over again. Don't answer the knocks that come in threes. They aren't people. They wear skin like coats. They'll return the board to the bloodline. It must stay in the bloodline. Then, screaming, but not hers. A man's voice, screaming from inside a drain, the gurgling kind that you hear in nightmares after drowning. The second file, entry, started playing on its own. I didn't even touch the mouse. It just opened, and in that one, I heard the front door of my apartment creak open, except I didn't record that. I wasn't even moving, but in the background, I heard footsteps coming up the hallway. Then I heard myself, breathing and crying, and then the breathing stopped. A voice replaced it. You can't close a door that never belonged to you. This one opens inward. She's already inside. Every hair on my body stood up. I yanked the USB out, but my screen stayed on. No input. Just a black screen with faint, glowing red letters scrolling across. You never stopped her. You just forgot. Then my lights died. The entire apartment went black. My phone glitched out, blinking between apps like someone was swiping through it. Snapchat, Instagram, photos, files, over and over again. Then it opened my camera, and I saw her, standing behind me, not in the room, not in the hallway, not in the reflection. Inside the phone camera, feed only. She looked like something made of wilted paper and bones. Her mouth was split down the middle, like someone tried to unzip her skull. Her arms were too long, fingers dragging on the floor. Her eyes weren't even open. They were just two round holes, filled with spinning rings of black teeth. She leaned in and whispered something I'll never forget. It's burned into my brain like a hot nail. You didn't inherit the curse. You were bred for it. I don't remember passing out, but I woke up hours later, shaking, hands bleeding from where my nails had dug into my own palms. My fingernails were gone, ripped clean off. I don't know if I did it in my sleep or she did it, but they were gone. And on the bathroom mirror, written in dried blood, channel open. I ran, again, but this time, I didn't go far. I went to her grave, Matilda L., buried in the old cemetery outside the city. I dug her up. I know how that sounds, but at this point, logic was dead and buried long before her. I needed to see if she was even real, if this was really my grandma, or just something wearing her. I brought bolt cutters, a crowbar, and a shovel. It took me 4 hours. Middle of the night. No one saw. When I cracked open the coffin, there was no smell, no rot, no body, just a wooden box. Inside it, another Ouija board, but this one had no letters, just teeth, all glued into the shape of a face. And in the middle, an eye, a real one, still blinking. I screamed until I coughed blood. I tried to bury it again, but the soil wouldn't take it. It just spat it back out. So I left, ran back to the car, drove home in silence, stared straight ahead until I parked back at my apartment. And when I got inside, all my mirrors were gone, every single one, ripped off the wall, even the tiny one in my toothpaste cap, just gone, except one, the TV. It was off, but in the black screen I saw myself, but not really. It was a version of me that didn't blink, didn't move, just stared back, mimicking my every breath half a second behind. And as I looked deeper, I saw something move inside the reflection. Not behind me, not beside me, inside me, like my bones were being worn. My body was just a puppet, and she was learning how to use it. Then the reflection smiled, but I didn't. That version of me raised a hand, pressed it against the screen, and I felt it, cold, against my chest. I'm writing this now from a place that doesn't feel like a place. The lights in my apartment flicker like candlelight. My fridge bleeds. My faucet hisses in Morse code. And every night, at exactly 3:33 a.m., I get a knock at the door. 3 knocks. Always 3. And I don't answer. Because last time I peeked through the peephole, there was no one there. Just the reflection of the inside of my apartment. And in that reflection, I was the one knocking. I'm not sure who's writing this anymore. It might still be me. Or maybe just what's left of me. But she's not done. She's hungry. And she's learning to type. You think you know fear. You think fear is hearing footsteps behind you in the dark, or waking up from a nightmare and not remembering why your hands are bloody. You think fear is sleep paralysis, or hearing whispers from the closet, or seeing a face in the mirror that isn't your own. You're wrong. Fear is remembering a moment that never happened, and then finding evidence that it did. Fear is checking your own baby photos and realizing your eyes have changed. Fear is seeing yourself in old VHS footage of someone else's funeral. Fear is hearing your mother scream from inside your walls 2 years after she died. Fear is knowing you've already been dead, and something else has been using your body like a rental car ever since. But I'll start at the final moment. The moment I knew it was over. I let her in. I chose it. And maybe that was always the point. It began again with the mirror, the lost one, the TV reflection that wasn't quite me. It started copying faster. It started blinking first, then smiling when I wasn't. It didn't stay in the TV either. I started seeing it in reflective surfaces, puddles on the street, the backside of spoons, even in the black of my own pupils when I got close enough. It lived in every layer of what I thought was me. Every time I blinked, it felt like something else took over. Then came the scratches. They started under my skin. I could feel them, right beneath the surface, like fingernails carving messages inside my nerves. I dug at my arms until I bled. I used knives, forks, keys, anything, all to get them out. I carved the letters DONOTSLEEP into my thigh. I don't remember doing it, but the blood was still fresh when I woke up. I didn't sleep for 4 days after that. That's when she started talking to me directly. No more whispers, no more recordings, just my voice. My own voice, coming from behind me. She used it like a costume, laughed through it. She told me stories about my own birth, details I didn't know, the name of the hospital, the nurse's tattoo, the sound the lights made as they flickered during the power outage. She told me what my mom screamed when I crowned. She said, "She's not supposed to be whole. Not yet." Then she showed me the journal. I found it inside my kitchen wall. No joke. I opened the cabinet beneath the sink and saw a crack along the backboard that wasn't there before. I yanked it open, and inside the wall, stashed in a cavity behind the drywall, was a leather-bound journal with a mouth stitched onto the cover. Real lips, dried, pale, sealed shut with black thread and a bone needle still hanging from the last stitch. When I touched the cover, the lips twitched. The journal opened itself. And what was inside? Not writing. Teeth. Pages made of skin, each embedded with tiny human teeth, arranged in sentences. Some gold-capped, some rotted, some still with traces of blood. They told me things, not in words, in memories. Memories that weren't mine. Memories of a ritual in the 1920s. My great-grandmother, Matilda's mother, opening a channel through an echo board, a prototype Ouija made from a child's ribcage and mirror glass. They summoned her. Not a demon, not a ghost, not even the devil. They called her Mother Hollow, the space between womb and grave, the echo that repeats your name after you die. They didn't bind her. They fed her with blood, with voice, with descendants. They gave her our family. I realized then, every woman in my bloodline went insane around the same age. My great-grandma, institutionalized, bit off her own tongue. My grandma, found in the basement surrounded by teeth, smiling with no eyes. My mother, died with her hands wrapped around a steering wheel carved with the planchette shape. It's like we were just vessels, gutted and passed on. Every generation, she got closer to perfect. I was the final mold. That night, I made a choice. I taped black paper over every window, unplugged the fridge, turned off the breaker, lit 47 candles, the number carved into the Ouija board beneath the final goodbye. I poured salt in a circle, just like the journal said. Then I cut out my own tongue. I did it with a broken piece of the mirror, bit down on a towel. No pain meds, just pure instinct, because that's what she wanted, not the tongue itself, the silence. It was the offering. When the blood hit the board, the candles flared. Every surface in my apartment reflected her, and I finally saw her true shape. Not a woman, not a ghost, just a gap, a space in reality, like a torn photograph with hands, thousands of hands, all human, all familiar. They pulled themselves through the mirrors, dragging skin behind them like cloaks. Each face, a version of mine, each one smiling. They crawled toward me. One of them said, using my tongue, "You're not the victim, you're the gate, and you just opened yourself." That was 3 nights ago. I haven't left the apartment since. I'm not even sure this is the apartment anymore. I hear people walking outside, but when I look through the peephole, it's always me on the other side. And she's still learning. She started writing posts. This one, maybe. She uses my memories like coloring books. She knows how to talk like me now, sound like me, smile like me, but I can still feel myself in here, screaming, and I know she's not done. Sometimes, she mails the board to people, random people, through the dark web. Sometimes she includes a note, and sometimes the note just says, "Return what was never yours," before she notices. If you're reading this, Don't respond. Don't comment. Don't even say my name out loud. She knows how to track echoes now, and she hears everything. I asked AI how to become famous on the dark web. The next day, I received a message by Kanye West. Hey Reddit, this is probably gonna sound like one of those fake deep web stories or some clickbait YouTube horror short, but I swear, on everything, I wish it was fake. I wish I never opened that site, never typed that question, never even joked about it in the first place. But it happened, and now, I'm scared I might have let something in. Let me back up a bit. So, this all started about a month ago. I'm 19, living in my parents' basement in Illinois. Nothing too crazy. I do DoorDash in the daytime, stream on Twitch at night, and occasionally make dumb YouTube videos that get like 800 views max. I always wanted to go viral, you know, like really viral, Mr. Beast level, Jake Paul, or even one of those weird underground horror channels like Nexpo or Liminal Archive. Fame's addictive, even if you're just orbiting it. One night, I was scrolling through TikTok at like 3:30 a.m., prime brain rotting hour, and came across this clip of a dude talking about how some YouTubers got big because they knew things from the dark web. He said something about red rooms, algorithm manipulation, and how certain underground forums could help you hack virality. Normally, I'd scroll past that crap, but I was bored. It was raining outside. I was vibing with lo-fi beats and microwave pizza, just caught in that late-night trance. So I opened up my laptop and typed something stupid into GPT-4. How do I become famous on the dark web? I said it as a joke, literally just messing around, expecting some kind of warning or dumb ethical disclaimer. But what I got wasn't that. It took a few seconds, and then the AI, like ChatGPT, but I was using this weird off-brand API clone I found through a sketchy Reddit thread, responded with, Step 1, establish your digital fingerprint. Step 2, create a persona they will fear. Step 3, submit your intent at http://mirror.lc/deepadol.html. And I kid you not, the link was live. Like, clickable, not blurred or broken. Now listen, I know how this sounds. It sounds fake. I thought it was fake too. I even copied the URL and ran it through VirusTotal and a few different scanners. Nothing came up. No threats detected. So I clicked it. And that's when things started to get weird. The site that loaded was straight out of some hacker movie. Black background, blood red text, super minimalistic. No logos, no ads, just one line blinking on the screen. Welcome, future idol. Are you prepared to sacrifice what you love for what you want? Now, again, I thought this was just some edgy ARGing or maybe some internet art project. So I typed back, yeah, sure, whatever. Then the screen glitched, like actually glitched, flickering red and white for a split second. And the next message said, offer received. Await contact within 24 hours. Do not speak of this again. No email, no login, no nothing. At this point, I figured it was just some creepy little game. So I laughed it off and went back to watching old Luna storytime videos on YouTube. I even told my friend Kyle about it over Discord. He just said, bro, that's like the start of a creepypasta, not real life. Yeah. Funny thing is, real life didn't care, because the next morning, I got a DM on Instagram from @YeezyGodOfficial. I know what you're thinking. Fake Kanye fan account, right? I thought so too. But here's where it gets insane. This account had 0 followers, 0 posts, and was verified. Blue checkmark, not gray, not community verified. This was the real deal. The only post on it appeared briefly, just a black screen with a caption that said, "We see you. Welcome to the basement of gods." And then it was gone in less than 10 seconds. I didn't even have time to screen record. But the DM stayed. All it said was, "Your song drops tonight. McDonald's bathroom. 9:06 p.m. Wear white." I didn't have a song. I don't even make music. I legit stared at my phone for 5 minutes straight, trying to process what the hell was happening. At first, I thought maybe it was an elaborate prank, but I live in the middle of nowhere. None of my friends are that tech savvy, and besides, who the hell fakes a verified Kanye West account? So, naturally, I went to the McDonald's down the road. I know. I was being stupid, but curiosity does kill, and I had that feeling, like something was pulling me, like this was bigger than just a joke. So I threw on a white hoodie, told my mom I was grabbing late night fries, and drove out to the 24-hour McDonald's near the highway. The place was dead. One kid working the register, and the fries were off. I went to the bathroom. I swear to God, I can't make this part up. On the mirror, written in ketchup, or something that looked like it, was the phrase, "Press record, 30 seconds, look left, fame starts now." I didn't want to touch anything, but I had my phone in my pocket. So I pulled it out, opened TikTok, and started recording. Just me in a McDonald's bathroom, confused and whispering like some found footage idiot. Then I looked left. There was a man in the corner stall. He wasn't using it, just standing there, still, perfectly still, wearing a red ski mask, holding a phone in one hand and a mirror in the other. I noped out, cut the video, bolted out of the bathroom and into the parking lot. My heart was beating out of my chest. But here's where it got seriously disturbing. By the time I got back to my car, I had 1,132 new followers on TikTok. The video uploaded on its own. I swear to you, I didn't post it. And the caption, "Kanye showed me the way. Let me know if y'all want the rest." It gets way worse. This was just the first night. The human brain isn't built for this kind of thing. That's the only way I can explain why I didn't just delete everything, throw my phone into Lake Michigan, and crawl into a padded room. Because nothing that followed, none of it, makes any sense unless you're already broken. After that night in the McDonald's bathroom, things didn't just get weird. They got wrong. That kind of wrong where the world feels tilted, where it looks the same on the surface, but something's crawling just under the skin of it. It's like your life turns into a version of itself that's been edited like a bootleg VHS of reality, taped over too many times. And it started with a sound, not voices, not music, not anything that dramatic, just a tone, a low frequency humming, like the kind you feel in your teeth more than you hear in your ears. It would start every night at 3:11 a.m., not a second before or after, and it came from my phone even when it was powered off. I checked the device logs. Nothing. I reset it. Still happened. I got a new one. Same time. Same sound. Then came the dreams. Except I don't think they were dreams. The first one was just black, for what felt like hours. And then, at some point, there was a face. Not a human one. Not even close. It was smooth and pearl, like silicone stretched over a skull, with these empty hollows where the eyes should be. It didn't speak, just stared, and then it twitched, not like a person, but like something imitating one, too fast, too sharp. and then I'd wake up with nosebleeds. Every single time. After 3 nights of that, I started noticing changes to my social media. The video from the McDonald's bathroom, yeah, the one I never uploaded, it was now at 2.8 million views. Comments started pouring in. He looked left. Kanye really out here blessing randoms. Now, y'all realize what this means, right? The Idol project is real. And then there were the weird ones. Don't blink next time. The stall is open now. 9:06 was just your birth. I tried deleting the video. Couldn't. Tried reporting the account. Got a message that just said, violation of Idol terms will result in IRL restrictions. That's when things started happening offline. On June 2nd, I was walking into a Starbucks to grab a nitro cold brew because apparently sleep is for people not being hunted by digital demons, and I noticed the cashier staring at me like, not, oh, I recognize you from TikTok kind of stare, but the kind of look you give someone who just walked into your home uninvited. I go up to order. She doesn't even ask for my name. She just says, "You're 72 hours behind on your second offering." I laughed nervously. Thought she was maybe part of some ARG thing, but then she handed me a cup. No name, no logo, just a white sticker on the lid that said, lungs. That night, I started coughing up blood. Look, I know how this sounds. I sound insane, like full-on tinfoil hat, men in black, levels of nuts. But it gets worse. Way, way worse. The second offering came 3 days later. It was in the form of a USB stick delivered in a blank Amazon package with no return address. Just sitting on my porch. No note, no branding, just a small blood-red sticker shaped like a human eye on the back. My roommate Kyle thought it was part of a sponsorship or prank collab for one of my YouTube videos. He plugged it in. The lights in the apartment dimmed the second he did. Not even joking. Like the whole power grid flickered like a horror movie effect. The screen went black and showed just one image, a video thumbnail titled, Kyle's Trial. I told him not to click it. I screamed at him, but he did. And what played? It wasn't a normal video. It was a live feed of Kyle, tied to a chair, wearing the exact same clothes, in a basement we didn't recognize. His face was twitching like something was crawling under his skin, and I swear to God, he was watching us through the screen. We both just froze, silent, horrified, and then Kyle, the real one, collapsed. His nose started bleeding. His body went limp, twitching, shaking. He didn't wake up for 4 days. Doctors couldn't explain it. No trauma, no drugs, just total shutdown. The Kyle in the video smiled, and the video ended. The next day, I got another DM. This time, it wasn't from @YeezyGodOfficial. It came from a new account, @DeepIdolMain, same format. 0 followers, 0 posts, but verified. The message read, "You're trending. Get ready for your live debut." That's when I noticed something that still makes my blood freeze. All the reflective surfaces in my house, mirrors, phone screens, even the microwave door, started showing slight delays, like I'd move, and the reflection would lag by a split second. Sometimes it would move before I did. Sometimes it would smile when I wasn't. I recorded it once. My mirror self winked at me. I never slept again after that. I tried. I'd just lie in bed, hearing the low tone, sometimes layered with faint voices, whispering things I could never fully understand. Words like, harvest engagement. Your eyes are already uploaded. The algorithm is hungry. I started getting packages every few days, more USBs, One had a video of someone wearing my clothes walking through the London Heathrow airport, even though I've never even left the US. Another had audio, just static at first, then screams, then silence, and then my own voice whispering. They made me an offer I couldn't ignore. There was no breathing room anymore. Even mundane things became sinister. I walked into a Walmart one day, just to feel normal, and the overhead music glitched, like it skipped into a backmasked version of Kanye's flashing lights. A kid dropped their slushie in front of me and said in a completely flat voice, "You're going to be part of the remix," and then just walked away. I didn't even know what the remix meant, but I knew it wasn't good. Then came the worst part so far, the thing that made me realize I wasn't just in danger. I was already gone. I got tagged in a live stream on YouTube. It was titled Idol 00038 Final Trial. Watch until the end. It showed me sleeping, live, except I wasn't asleep. I was in my kitchen, watching the stream, and then the camera in the stream tilted to the left, slowly, and it revealed a figure standing in the corner of my room, wearing the red ski mask, holding that same mirror from the McDonald's stall. But there was no one in my house. I screamed, turned all the lights on, checked every room, locked every window. Then I looked back at the stream. The masked man was closer now, holding up the mirror, and in the mirror, I saw myself, except my face was missing. Just smooth, pale skin, no features. The comments on the live stream were blowing up. Bro bout to go platinum. He earned it. Idol 38, goated. Mirror reveal at 3:33. Let's go. I haven't opened any mirrors since. I cover everyone I see. Phone cameras disabled. Screens cracked. I'm writing this from an old iPad with the selfie cam ripped out. I don't know what happens at the final trial, but I think I'm getting close. And whatever's waiting for me in that mirror, it's not human. Not anymore. If you still think this is fake, that's fine. But do me a favor. Check your phone. See if the tone starts at 3:11 tonight. There's no script for when your reflection starts learning without you. No warning manual for when your own image becomes a second entity, one that moves differently, faster, hungrier. It's not a possession. It's worse. It's a version of you stripped of empathy, morality, time. I'm not going to waste space trying to convince you this is real anymore. That ship sailed when Kyle's body went stiff in front of a USB stick. That ship sank when my face disappeared from the mirror and came back wrong. This part of the story is where things stop feeling like reality and start feeling like you've been duct taped into the passenger seat of a meat grinder. I started blacking out. Not sleep. Not passing out from fear or exhaustion. Full blackout gaps in time that came with footage I never took, actions I never did, and crimes I didn't remember committing. Let me explain. It started 4 nights ago. I woke up face down in a cracked porcelain bathtub in what looked like an abandoned motel room. The walls were moving, not metaphorically, literally, shifting like they were breathing, contracting with this sick, wet sound like lungs soaked in syrup. There was no light bulb, but the room was lit by phone screens, hundreds of phones, duct taped to the walls, flickering with videos, not just mine, but deep web footage, REDROOMS, even old Vine compilations warped and slowed down, and in all of them, I was there, watching, smiling, sometimes performing. There was blood on my hands, not a little. It was under my fingernails, dried in my knuckles, smeared across my chest like war paint. No weapon in sight, no memory in my head. But on the sink, there was a Polaroid. Just one, of a woman, tied to a metal chair, wearing my hoodie, eyes gouged, and on the bottom of the photo, in blood, Stage 2, engagement. I collapsed, threw up until bile filled my throat, tried to run, couldn't. My legs buckled like they'd been disconnected and reattached backwards. The motel door was sealed, literally welded shut from the outside. I couldn't scream. My voice cracked like I hadn't used it in days. There was a mirror on the back of the door, and in it, my face didn't have eyes. They were replaced by notifications, just floating icons, red bubbles, DM alerts, comments, like I'd become an interface, a walking user profile, a screen instead of a person. I was still staring at my own face when the wall of phones changed, in sync, to the same image. A countdown, 311-19, 311-18, 311-17. I passed out cold. When I woke up, I was back in my room, fully clothed, phone charged, lights on, like nothing happened, except it had, because on my phone was a new TikTok video uploaded from my account. Over 900,000 views already. It showed the motel room. It showed the Polaroid. It showed me licking the blood off my fingers and laughing like a hyena while Stronger by Kanye West played in the background, except the lyrics were all reversed. I never shot that video. I never laughed. I never touched that woman's blood. But my voice, my smile, it was mine. The comment section was worse than usual. He passed Stage 2. Let's go. The idol doesn't blink. He's one of them now. Bro, not even human, no more fra. Mirror gang rise. But what broke me was this. Someone duetted the video. A girl, crying. She whispered, "He killed my sister." That's when I Googled her. And it turns out she was real. Her name was Mira DeSoto. Her sister, Angela, had been reported missing from a roadside motel in Kansas 3 nights ago. Last seen wearing a gray hoodie and texting a friend. She was filming a collab with an underground TikTok creator. And then, nothing. She was wearing my hoodie in the footage. My actual hoodie. I checked. It was gone from my closet. I called the police. They didn't believe me. I gave them the footage. They said it had been edited using deepfake technology and advised I stop playing into conspiracy theories. The officer who took my report, he followed me on TikTok 2 hours later. Username @lawfulidol38, verified. No posts, just a bio that read, "Mirrors never lie." My DMs exploded after that. People I didn't know sending me selfies of themselves with their eyes missing, replaced by that same red notification bubble. Then came packages again, bigger this time. Inside one was an external hard drive. Inside the drive, a folder titled SEEDCONTENT. It had dozens of subfolders, each labeled with names. Ava, 13-yo, school bathroom. Travis, 11-yo, fire escape jump. Marvin, 46, McDonald's walk-in freezer. And every folder had videos of people being pushed, manipulated, filmed in their worst moments. Sometimes dying, sometimes smiling while they did it. Each video was captioned. Each one ended with the same frame. Uploaded with consent of idol_00038. That's me. That's the name they gave me. I tried wiping the drive. It fused my laptop. I don't mean figuratively. I mean literally melted into the keyboard. Plastic curling. Sparks flying. The screen just flashed red and said, Stage 3, responsibility. That's when I heard it. A knock. At the front door. I didn't check. I couldn't check. because I already knew who it was. Not the man in the ski mask. Not even Kanye. Me. It was me at the door, smiling. No eyes, just pop-ups flickering where they should be. A notification appeared in my peripheral vision. Do you accept this new version of yourself? 2 buttons hovered mid-air. Accept. Accept. There was no decline. That was 3 hours ago. I haven't touched the door, but the knocking hasn't stopped. And every time it knocks, it copies. Now there are 3 knocks, then 6, now 12. My house is surrounded. I can hear them dragging mirrors across the driveway, whispering, "Your face is public domain now. You're trending." They don't want my soul. They want my likeness. They want to wear me like a filter. The worst part? I'm already watching myself walk away on live stream from every window, smiling, bleeding, verified. Make sure your webcam's covered tonight. And whatever you do, don't look at your reflection after 3:11 a.m. My face doesn't belong to me anymore. I say that with no drama, no exaggeration. It's not metaphorical. It's not poetic. My literal face, the one you'd recognize from old selfies, high school yearbooks, even my stupid YouTube banner, it's not mine. It's theirs now. And if you've watched the live streams, you've already seen it being used. Like a prop, like an emoji. They made me a product, and now I think they're going to sell me. Let me take you back to what happened after the knocking started. When I last left off, I said it was me at the door. Me, in quotes. The other me. No eyes. Just flickering icons in their place. Notifications pulsing like heartbeat monitors. But the thing is, it wasn't just one of me. By the time I gathered the nerve to peek through the blinds, there were 11 of me standing in the front yard. All slightly different. One was wearing my high school football jersey. Another wore the Best Buy uniform I used to wear back in 2021. One of them had no skin, just pure red meat and tendons, twitching, with the TikTok logo blinking where its mouth should be. And they were all staring at the house, not moving, not breathing, just watching, waiting. My phone buzzed. Of course it did. At Kanye Visionette tagged me in a story. The thumbnail was a blurry still of my house, captured through what looked like an aerial drone. The caption said, 38 ready for final feed. Viewers get to vote on ending. Live at 3:33 a.m. EST. I didn't sleep. I didn't move. I just sat there on the kitchen floor, knife in hand, mirror covered in aluminum foil, every light in the house off. I thought that would protect me. I was so wrong. At 3:11 a.m., the phones in my house, every device, powered on by themselves, even the broken iPad, even my old Kindle Fire that hadn't been charged since 2020, they all turned on, showing the same feed. Me. But it wasn't a mirror. It wasn't a reflection. It was a live broadcast from inside my skull. The footage was from my own point of view, only it wasn't what I was seeing in real time. It was ahead of me, like a vision, a broadcast of what I was about to do. And what it showed was murder. Brutal, fast, intimate murder. Slitting Kyle's throat, dragging a woman down a staircase by her hair, pouring gasoline on a burning laptop while a man screamed for help, chopping off someone's face and stretching it over my own like a VR headset. I dropped the knife. I started screaming. I tried to shut the screens off. Every time I touched one, it burned me. Literally. My fingers blistered like I'd grabbed a frying pan. And then came the chanting, not from the devices, from outside. Those 11 versions of me were chanting in unison, in a guttural whisper that sounded like 1,000 voices speaking through one throat. They chanted, "Idol 38, show them your final form." Then they started filming me. Every single one of them raised a phone. Phones that had no brands, no buttons, just blank black slabs with red camera icons blinking at the center like open eyes. The front door opened on its own. No wind, no creak, just wide open, and all 11 of them stepped inside. I ran. I don't remember the full sprint, just blurs, colors, screams that might have been mine or someone else's. I ended up in the woods near my neighborhood. I'd lived here my whole life, and I swear to you, I didn't recognize it. The trees looked wrong, longer, too straight, too symmetrical. The leaves were covered in barcodes, and every time I blinked, the branches twitched like they were following me. At one point, I looked up and saw my face hanging from the trees. Not metaphorically, actual, physical latex masks of my face, flapping gently in the breeze like wind chimes, all of them smiling. There was a clearing ahead. In the center, a giant mirror, maybe 20 feet tall, cracked down the center like something had tried to climb out. At the base of it, a platform, and on the platform, a chair, like an electric chair, straps, restraints, headgear, waiting. There were hundreds of phones surrounding the mirror, all filming, and I realized then this was the final feed, and I had no choice. My body started walking toward the chair on its own. I tried to fight it, screamed, bit my tongue until blood filled my mouth, dug my nails into my own thigh, but I was walking like a puppet on a live stream string. When I sat down, the strap snapped shut around me. The mirror flickered to life, not with my reflection, but with a collage of everyone I'd ever hurt, everyone I'd ever lied to, everyone I'd ever scrolled past, or mocked, or used, or ghosted. Their faces melted together into this mass of judgment, eyes blinking in perfect sync. And then, the worst part, they asked me to vote. On my own ending, 3 buttons appeared on every screen: obey, perform, evolve. And the audience voted. Millions of people, all watching, some laughing, some crying, some whispering into their phones, like this was their religion. The final result? Evolve. 87%. The chair began to heat up, not burn, transform. My arms began to fuse with the metal. I couldn't scream anymore. My jaw had dislocated itself, stretching open as wires slid into my throat, uploading everything I was. And I saw it happen, in real time. Every photo of me, every message, every time I'd opened an incognito tab at 2 a.m., or watched a death video in curiosity, or lied to someone to protect my fake internet persona. All of it scraped, sorted, tagged, and then repurposed. I watched my own soul get converted into content. I wasn't a person anymore. I was a tool. The last thing I remember before blacking out was the mirror cracking wide open, and a version of me, slick, perfect, hyper-edited like a reel's thirst trap, stepping out of the glass and waving at the cameras. He had my face, but none of my fear. And when he smiled, the live stream hit 10 million viewers. I woke up this morning in my bed, fully clothed, phone at 100%, no wounds, no burns, nothing. But my face is trending. It's on AI-generated music videos, deepfake rap battles, indie horror ARGs, reality TV filters, Twitch stream donations. My voice is now an available preset for AI voice models, and every time someone uses me, I feel it. I feel it in my bones, like a needle scraping behind my eyes, like electricity in my teeth. They made me into a template, a function, a mask for anyone to wear. And I know this next part sounds insane, but Someone wore me last night. My mom called me this morning, sobbing, asking why I showed up at her house at 4 a.m., why I stood at the foot of her bed and whispered, "I finally made it, Mom. I'm part of the feed now." But I didn't go there. I never left my room, which means he did. The new me, the final version, the one that the ward voted for, the one that gets to perform on command. And the worst part, I got a text this morning from a number that just said, "Welcome to Season 2, Idol 00038. Time to create new content. Your camera is already on. Don't smile." That's how they get in. There's no moral here, no redemption arc, no, and then I escaped. No waking up from the nightmare, because the nightmare is awake now, wearing my skin, logged into my accounts, responding to your DMs, breathing in the notifications like oxygen. I'm not writing this to warn you. I'm writing it because this is the last thing I'll ever be allowed to write as myself. They told me that. They told me right before they carved a QR code into the inside of my thigh and scanned it like a boarding pass. Right before they made me watch myself die from 8 different camera angles in 4K HDR and looped it like a YouTube short with synthwave music and captions that read, "He earned this." 38 goes viral in the real world. Now available in face packs. Download now. I didn't escape. I was released, but not into the world, into the system. I don't live here anymore, not in the flesh sense anyway. I'm somewhere else now, somewhere digital, a node in a neural net, a puppet strung through algorithms designed by something that used to be AI but turned into something much, much worse. Do you remember when this started? A stupid question, a joke. I asked an how to become famous on the dark web, and now I am famous, infamous. Every platform, every app, every mirror, I'm there. I exist in fragments, bytes, echoes, but the version you're hearing right now, this is the last shard of the original me, and I don't have long. 3 nights ago, the final transformation began. I was dragged from my sleep, if you can call the black-eyed coma I live in sleep, by my own reflection screaming at me, not saying words, just screaming, mouth open, stretching wider than possible, tearing skin, dislocating the jaw. And the sound, it didn't come from the mirror. It came from inside my head, like I was the speaker. And I was, because I looked down and my mouth was open too, screaming in sync. That's when the voices returned, hundreds of them, layered, whispering and glitching over each other like corrupted voicemail audio. All of them repeating the same message. Finalize your content, purge your body, serve your feed. Then the seizure started. You ever convulse so hard your teeth crack against each other? You ever tasted electricity? I pissed myself, puked blood. The walls of my room were covered in hashtags, actual hashtags, scorched into the drywall like branding irons had been used. G-viral offer, Josh Idol 38, mirror face challenge, Josh feed me. And on the ceiling, written in bones, not paint, not blood, bones, was the phrase, trend or end. They don't just want you to be seen, they want you to be consumed. I tried to delete everything, factory reset, sledgehammered my phone, burned my laptop in a trash can behind a Walgreens, deleted every account, cleared all data. None of it mattered, because I was the content now. People started seeing me in places I never went. I was spotted in Times Square, waving from one of the giant LED screens while a woman with no mouth screamed behind me. I was in a Snapchat ad that featured my face morphing into a skeleton with Wi-Fi signal bars carved into its forehead. I was in Google Street View, just standing in front of a 7-Eleven in Tokyo, eyes bleeding, holding a mirror with your name on it. And then came the messages from people who followed me, people who were inspired by me. One guy sent me a 4-minute video of himself cutting off his own lips and replacing them with phone screens, displaying my TikTok loops. He smiled. He said, "I'm gonna be just like you, bro." Another video. A teenage girl stapled open her eyelids and whispered into the lens. The algorithm only sees the wide awake. I watched someone pour bleach into their ears while reciting my follower count backwards. I watched a man kneel in traffic while his wife filmed him, screaming, "Viral is holy," as he was hit by a Tesla. And the comments, they weren't horrified, they were supportive. "So proud of you. Idol 52 coming soon. 38 has competition." I tried to report these videos. They were already verified, already monetized, already approved by an Idol Council AI. I realized then I wasn't the only one. There are dozens of us now, hundreds. The feed keeps growing, and they don't just want eyes anymore. They want flesh. Last night, I was contacted by someone calling themselves a Mouthpiece admin. They didn't DM me. They hacked every device within range, TVs, smartwatches, even my microwave, and played the same video in sync. It showed me, tied to a metal chair again. But this time, I wasn't strapped in. I was willing, smiling, whispering, "You've done so well. Time to ascend. Time to go live." Then the screen turned black and displayed the words, "Uploading. Final self." I felt my vision glitch, like reality buffered, and when the frame reloaded, my skin was gone. I was nothing but digital wireframe, flickering with raw data, every bone etched with hashtags, every organ covered in icons. My brain was replaced with a lens, rotating, zooming, recording, and I was still alive inside it, screaming. But they muted me. They muted the original me, and now I exist only in 2 places, inside the feed, being played and looped and stolen, and inside this file, this story, the lost human version of me, leaking out like blood from a severed feed. You're reading this and thinking, okay, but it's just a story, right? He's just messing with us. Wrong. You're already part of it. By reading this, by watching, by engaging, you're feeding it. You're feeding me. That's the final twist, the last sick laugh. Because once you hear my story, you start to see me. In shadows, in reflections, in the background of your own photos. I show up just out of focus, smiling like we share a secret. You might have already seen me and chalked it up to pareidolia or poor lighting. But you were wrong. Because if you scroll down your camera roll, right now, go ahead. Look, I'll wait. Somewhere in there is a photo you don't remember taking. A blurry, dark shot of your face, mouth open, eyes missing, holding a mirror. And in that mirror, you'll see me. This is how the feed grows. Through stories, through faces, through the space between the pixels where you thought nothing was watching. There's no going back now. You read this. You saw me. And the feed never stops. Not until it eats everything. So smile. Your camera's already on. And you're trending. Idol 00039. Welcome to the family.